This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 88, an excerpt from the book Mr. Monkey and Me by Mike Smerklo. And I'm your host and narrator, Dan, and welcome to Optimal Startup Daily, where I read to you from some of the best blogs covering entrepreneurship and freelancing. And today I'm doing something a little bit different. Instead of reading a blog post, I'm actually narrating an excerpt from a book for you, and I'll tell you about the author right after the reading. So for now, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. An excerpt from the book Mr. Monkey and Me by Mike Smerklo. Imagine, you've landed your dream job at a design firm, and for the first few months, it was everything you'd hoped it would be. But as time went on, your enthusiasm started to, not so much wane, but be dulled by what feels like constant inaction. As soon as you got up to speed on the status quo, you started seeing where that status quo isn't quite everything it was cracked up to be. It's the last Friday of June. Dan, the owner of Dan Jones Design, is running the quarterly meeting. This quarter, the main topic on the agenda is growth strategies. You find yourself thinking about what you would do differently if you were in charge. In fact, you're always thinking about what you would do differently if you were in charge. There's a running list in your head of all the improvements you could make that you started a year and a half ago. You're still relatively new to the company, so you're reticent about sharing these ideas. Some of your team members have been with Dan's company for over 20 years. Everyone else seems excited about these marginal improvements, and you don't want to rock the boat, but you can't help but feel frustrated. Dan Jones Design does excellent work, but the company could have a much broader reach if everyone thought bigger. You have some ideas you'd like to talk with Dan about. You've been looking into the potential for expansion and the customer base you could reach with more resources. You take a moment to plan your approach and work up your nerve, but before you have a chance to share your ideas, Dan glances at his watch. You check your phone. It's 4:59. "Well, I want to respect your time. We've had a great session today," Dan says, calling the meeting to a close. Millie, the office manager, stops by your desk while you're packing up to go home. "Hi, sweetheart," Millie says, flashing you a warm smile. "It was Gloria's birthday and there's still a little cake left in the break room. You should go get a piece." "Thanks," you say. "Hey, Millie, I'm curious. Was that meeting satisfying and meaningful to you?" Millie looks at you like you might have grown an extra head. "Sure, I guess. It's always fun for us to get some good face-to-face time together." "You've been here from the start, and I was wondering," you stammer a bit as you get ready to ask the real question on your mind. Do you think Dan would ever consider growing the company faster, maybe entering a new market?" "Dan has grown the company," Millie says. "There were only 4 of us when we started out on that old dining room table in the apartment over his garage 25 years ago." Her eyes get a little misty. "The economy isn't great out there, but Dan did good. Look at all of us now. Oh, I'm thankful to have such a nice place to work." You slump in your office chair. The opportunities for growth and improvement are obvious, but no one seems interested in pushing just a little bit harder. You know that after this meeting, there might be a few small things that will change, but the company isn't going to implement innovative growth strategies on a large scale. Competition may be coming, but Dan Jones Design won't be prepared. No one else seems concerned, and it makes you feel truly alone. Everyone is packing up to go home, but you stay at your desk and write an email to Dan. "Great job with the meeting today. I know we ran out of time, but I have several ideas on how we could grow the business, and I'd love the chance to discuss them with you and the team." You're inspired. It's a goosebumps kind of moment. You think back to that movie with Tom Cruise as a sports agent and that manifesto he wrote one night to his entire company. What was that movie called? Something about showing the money? Maybe that can be the subject line on your email. Brilliant, you think, as your fingers fly across the keyboard. Your heart starts racing. You lay out the plans you came up with for increasing client outreach and expanding the team. You write and rewrite, wanting to set the perfect tone to get Dan excited. By the time you look up from your computer, everyone else is gone, and Russell, the night janitor, is walking around emptying garbage cans. You're about to hit send, but decide you'll save your email in the drafts folder and send it on Monday so you can add any ideas you might have over the weekend. You finally call it a night, pack up your things, wave goodnight to Russell, and walk out to your car. On the drive home, your car is full of monkeys, the voices of self-doubt in your head. A monkey wearing a Dan Jones Design golf shirt scolds you. "Don't mess it up, man. We've got it good. And Dan's been running this company for a long time, and he's certainly done a pretty good job. Why do you doubt someone who runs a very successful firm? Who do you think you are? Hey, the economy's pretty tight, the next monkey says, her charm bracelet jangling as she pats your shoulder. Why don't you just shut up and be happy you have a good job? Be glad you don't have to worry about any of that, the third monkey says, looking at his watch. It's not your responsibility. I guess it is up to Dan to figure this stuff out, you say. The three monkeys love seeing your stance weaken. They pile on, shrieking all at once. Why would you want all the responsibility of running a company? Why are you always so unsatisfied? Can't you just be happy with the way things are? I heard 90% of all startups fail. Why do you think you're better than Dan Jones? And remember what happened to Tom Cruise in that movie? The name of it was Jerry f***ing Maguire, dip. Not Show Me the Money. And Tom Cruise got fired after he sent out that manifesto. Yeah, I guess you're right, you say to them. What the hell do I know? Dan's been running this business for 25 years. Then another voice enters your head, so solidly your own. Shit, why can't I be satisfied? Why do I keep dreaming about doing my own thing? What is wrong with me? The monkeys chatter happily, certain that they've won. But even as you agree with them, something in your gut is telling you that those monkeys are wrong. Remember the Jeff Foxworthy bit where he told the audience they might be a redneck if they followed specific patterns of behavior? Well, if this story rang true for you, you might be an entrepreneur. There are probably 100 different ways of being an entrepreneur, but the primary connection is that you feel different and you feel motivated by that difference. The driving force behind that feeling of difference may vary from one entrepreneur to the next, but the thing we all share is that we're motivated to have an impact, to build something, to make a difference. The first step on the journey of entrepreneurship is to get to know yourself a bit more, to recognize that you are different, and to realize that this is a good thing. The world needs you now more than ever. You just listened to an excerpt from the book Mr. Monkey and Me by Mike Smerklo. And I'll tell you about Mike in just a moment, but first, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this episode. This holiday season, give a gift of exploration and knowledge. Get creative and learn how to make the perfect handmade gift with Skillshare's online classes. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/OSD and get a free trial of premium membership. There are so many fascinating classes on Skillshare on topics including hand lettering, creative writing, marketing, and more. As a freelancer myself, I recently took a Skillshare class called Pricing Your Work, How to Value Your Work as a Freelancer, and I walked away learning pricing strategies I never thought to implement. Skillshare's annual subscription is less than $10 per month, and I was amazed at how much I was able to learn at such an affordable price. And with the holidays upon us, you can too. Learn ways to improve yourself or make one-of-a-kind gifts for your loved ones. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/OSD and get a free trial of premium membership. That's 2 weeks free at Skillshare.com/OSD. And thank you to our author today, Mike. In this book, he offers an honest look at the mental toughness and grit it takes to start, grow, and operate a successful business. A little bit about him. Mike is an entrepreneur, an investor, and business leader driven by the desire to turn ideas into reality. He is the co-founder and managing director of Next Coast Ventures, which has backed more than 40 companies across 2 funds, where he champions a new generation of entrepreneurs building disruptive companies in big markets. Visit MikeSmerklo.com to read his blog and learn a lot more about him and his ideas, and I've got that linked in this episode's description. And again, make sure to check out the book Mr. Monkey and Me. You can find it on Amazon and at MikeSmerklo.com, and I'll likely be sharing more from him and his blog soon. And that's going to do it for today. I thank you so much for listening and for subscribing. Have yourself a happy Sunday as you wrap up the weekend, and I will see you right back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.